Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G-Lauren33. I am back here today with another episode of the Legit Shoot Podcast. Here with your Smackdown review and results for November 6th, 2020. Thank you guys so much for joining me here as always, man. And as you guys can tell, I am in a good mood because the curse is finally over, right? After 5 long years, the best female wrestler in the world has finally retained a singles title. That's the big thing, the big topic of conversation. That's what we're going to be focusing on for a good amount of the podcast today. Talking about Sasha Banks and Bayley, the rematch that happened on SmackDown, man. And it was an amazing match. Sasha putting up another contender for match of the year, man. It's just. When I tell you she's the best in the world, you guys think it's a joke. You guys think it's a tagline. No, she proves it every single week, man. And it's just, it becomes more undisputed. With every single banger, with every single classic that she puts out, man, it becomes more undisputed, man. And for years, we've had to deal, as fans of Sasha, the crew they call us, right? That's the tagline for Sasha Banks fans, the crew. We've had to deal with 5 years where people say, "Oh, Sasha can't be one of the greatest of all time if she can't defend a singles title," you know. And no matter if it was against Charlotte or Alexa Bliss, all the ranting, all the bitching, even when she lost to Asuka at SummerSlam, when I gave you guys probably the rant of the year, man, all of it, so much pain. But now to see that it seems like everything's turning a corner for Sasha Banks, and now WWE actually finally sees her as the top star that she is. Things, and the only thing that I didn't like about this is we didn't get to see it in front of a live crowd. This was a rivalry we've been waiting for so long. And, yes, you could say Sasha and Bayley was a little bit rushed. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But, I just really I'm disappointed that we didn't get a live crowd. It had to be done in front of, virtual fans, virtual screens. And it doesn't matter. The matches were fantastic. But still, I think we all wanted that big moment, hopefully like at a SummerSlam, right? Remember, Sasha and Bayley was originally supposed to take place at SummerSlam in Sasha's hometown of Boston. But then because of COVID, that got canceled. And some of us wanted them to wait till WrestleMania, right? Wait till WrestleMania to do Sasha versus Bayley. But we know WWE doesn't have patience for long-term storytelling. And once Sasha versus Bayley was announced for Hell in a Cell, Sasha had to win. There was no other way around it, right? Yes, if I could, take this back, I would love to see Sasha versus Bayley at WrestleMania next year. And that be Sasha's big WrestleMania moment, the one she hasn't gotten yet. But either way, man, I'm just happy that finally, she is Grand Slam Banks. The curse of her not being able to retain a singles title, that is behind her. And now it finally looks like WWE is positioning Sasha to be the top women's star in the women's division. She's already one of the top stars in the entire company. It's just that her booking has never been aligned with that. But it didn't matter at the end of the day because Sasha said it best in that promo against Bayley a couple weeks ago. My name is Sasha Banks, and my name is greater than your title. And that's fact. She never needed the title to be validated as one of the best in the world. But now that she is champion, and now that she is retaining that championship, right? Finally racking up those wins, finally getting a legit title reign, it just adds to her resume. And when she does retire one day, and when she does enter the Hall of Fame, it just adds to the argument that she has of calling herself the best female wrestler of all time, which I already believe she is, right? Plus, she's in The Mandalorian. She had her episodes in The Mandalorian haven't come out yet, but they should be coming out in the next couple weeks. And now that she's women's champion, right? The awareness that's gonna bring to WWE and Star Wars, like, come on, who's gonna argue with that? Who's gonna argue with that, right? But we're gonna talk about Sasha versus Bayley. Sasha finally retaining a singles title. The curse is over. The only real curse left, you could say, is Sasha. She hasn't won a WrestleMania match, right? And we'll be talking about that a little bit on the podcast tomorrow. Depending when you guys are watching this on Sunday, I am planning on putting out a bonus episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. I know I delayed this episode for a couple weeks because I wanted to make sure Sasha would retain against Bayley. on SmackDown, which she did. So on Sunday, you guys will get a bonus episode of the podcast where we will be talking about Sasha Banks and how she should be booked as SmackDown Women's Champion, how long she should be champion, who she should go up against, what storylines you put her in, right? So because Bayley had a fantastic run as SmackDown Women's Champion, Sasha is now the successor to that, right? And now she's in the early stages of her own run as SmackDown Women's Champion. So Sasha should have a lengthy title reign. And a lot of people are hoping we get Sasha versus Bianca at WrestleMania. And even though I'm down with that, Sasha should not drop that title until SummerSlam of next year. No matter if it's in Boston, no matter if it's, somewhere else, we don't know how the world's going to look by summer of next year. I hope things are back to normal, but you know, I think Sasha should be SmackDown Women's Champion until SummerSlam of 2021. And I have a whole storyline already pitched out. I have opponents. It involves Becky, Ronda Rousey, Bianca Belair, of course, and some other things. So I hope you guys are excited for that. I will be putting that out tomorrow. So make sure you guys check that out. We'll also talk about a couple other things like what's going on with the Twitch ban. I got a couple things I want to say about Bayley real quick and where they should go with her going forward. Now that at least it looks like her rivalry with Sasha is done for right now. But yes, make sure if you guys haven't already, because this you guys might be listening to this podcast after I put out this video. So make sure to go check out that bonus episode of the podcast if you haven't already. As always, guys, thank you guys for joining me on the podcast. You guys are amazing. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on any videos. Also, by clicking the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a video. Also, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. So now that we got that stuff out of the way, let's talk about SmackDown. Let's talk about SmackDown. All right. So basically, like I said, the big thing here was Sasha Banks and Bayley. That was the most advertised thing going on into the show. And I said on last week's podcast that I believe that this match should probably go on first, right? Probably should go on first. You're not going to save this for the main event. And another thing why uh, I was kind of glad that it didn't uh, go on in the main event is I thought personally that SmackDown was probably going to be preempted or get interrupted because they were advertising all day that Joe Biden was planning on making some kind of speech because of the whole election thing. All right. Like I said, I hope you guys got out and vote. Definitely, give yourself a clap for yourself. Hit the like button if you guys voted, man. Because I know on Monday's podcast I talked for like a good 5 minutes just telling you guys why you guys should have voted. And no matter if you're Biden or Trump, man, still just doing your part. Legit, voting is part of your responsibility as a U.S. citizen. But either way, I thought there was a chance SmackDown could get interrupted because Biden was planning on doing some kind of speech, but he did that later in the night. And, as I'm recording this, we're still waiting for the results of the election, even though it looks like Biden is going to be our next president. All right. But I'm glad that it opened the show, just like I called it last week on the podcast. My thing on it, you know, I wanted Sasha and Bayley to kind of get that Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles treatment. Like I said last week, if you guys remember, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan was arguably, probably not even arguably, it is the best TV match of the year. Right, they got about 45 minutes, and there was like 3 commercial breaks. And yes, that's probably taken away one of the only things you could take away from this match from saying it probably is the match of the year. But either way, it was fantastic. They gave them legit close to an hour on a 2-hour SmackDown, and it lived up to all of the hype. I was hoping Sasha and Bayley would get that treatment, right? I was hoping they would get 30 to 45 minutes because easily we know that they could tell that kind of story. These are probably the 2 best females on the entire roster right now, especially with the level of work they've been doing throughout the whole entire year. But the match only went about, I would say, a little over 20 minutes. If I'm, being 100%, there was 2 small commercial breaks. The commercial breaks only lasted like 2 minutes. And I think, SmackDown was trying to get their commercials out of the way just in case they did get interrupted by a Joe Biden news conference, even though the conference didn't happen. But they did put 2 small commercial breaks. And yes, that did hurt the match a little bit, right? Because for people that are watching on TV, like me, you only got to see about, maybe I would say, about 13 minutes. And the 13 minutes of the match were fantastic. But if you're watching in the Thunderdome, like if you're watching with the virtual link that they give you for SmackDown, right, you got to see the entire match. And they were fighting through the commercial break. So you got to see like the full 20 minutes that they went bell to bell. And it was great. It was great. So I know Sasha came out and clearly she was confident, right? Michael Cole and Corey Graves did talk about how Sasha does have a history of not being able to defend titles, but she can shut everybody up today, right? Sasha's confidence, it didn't even look like it was on her mind. She wasn't even thinking about not defending the title. So I love that badass babyface confidence that Sasha has. I love that a lot. She was also wearing. I was hoping she would wear the her Clash of Champions 2019 gear when she went up against Becky Lynch, but she didn't. She wore the uh the backlash, or not the backlash, the payback gear. The basically the Matt and Jeff Hardy Hardy Boys gear that her and Bayley had at Payback when they lost the Women's Tag Team Championships. It was also the same gear Sasha was wearing when Bayley started this whole rivalry, when Bayley turned on her a couple months back. So I kind of like, it was those little nuggets of storytelling, man, that made this great. So Bayley was in Gorilla. She got interviewed by Caleb Braxton as she was coming out to the ring, and Bayley basically said the same things. She said last week they showed a amazing video package. Sasha and Bailey's video packages have been, the one we got from SmackDown and the one we got from Hell in a Cell, two of the best I've seen in a long time. Love them. WWE does a great job with these video packages, but Bailey said the one thing that was missing from that video package is showcasing all the times where Sasha has not been able to defend a woman's title, which it's true. All right. But Bailey said, I'll make sure to continue that streak tonight. And Bailey came out. It does feel very weird to see Bailey without the SmackDown Women's title. It kind of fits with her music in a way. I'm not the biggest fan of Bailey's theme song, but when she was champion, no matter if it's the tag titles or the SmackDown Women's title, it fit with the character. But, I'm not complaining because Sasha's champion. Either way, Bailey came out and, you know, Sasha was confident. She got in Bailey's face, and then they did the introductions. And I love Sasha's introduction, man. She has this new confidence about her, man. It's absolutely amazing, right? I told you, yes, Sasha's amazing as a heel, but she's just as good as a babyface. She can flip the switch on those two roles easily. I know Sasha got interviewed about her role in Star Wars, and she says what made going to Star Wars so easily is because she's an actress already on SmackDown every single week, right? These are scripted wrestlers in a way. So because she's so good at what she does on TV, it made it that much easier for her to fall into the Star Wars role. And I cannot wait to see it, which we will have a live reaction to that when Sasha's episode premieres on Disney Plus in the next couple weeks. So these two went right after each other, man. Very, very, unique offense from both. And there was a lot of good spots. This match wasn't as good as their Hell in a Cell match, but it's gonna be very, very hard for any match to be as good as their Hell in a Cell match, right? But the match was fantastic. This was easily one of the best women's matches of the year. It's just that I hated how we had those little commercial breaks in it. So Sasha sent Bayley flying outside the ring as we went into the commercial break. Sasha was yelling and talking crap. She was like, "Ding dong, Bayley, I'm winning." So I love that, that confidence from Sasha once again. So we come back from our first commercial break. Bayley had control. She had Banks on the bottom rope. She scored a near fall out of it. She then went into a headlock. Then Sasha fought out, delivered a double knees, then followed with an amazing cross body. There was two really good spots in this part of the match. There was the cross body. Sasha jumped on Bayley from, I don't remember if it was from the apron or from one of the ropes. I think it was from the ring apron. And most people when they do a crossbody, it's just boom, and it looks okay, but it doesn't look that special. This crossbody for some reason looked a little more brutal than others, right? Like they felt like when Sasha fell on Bailey, there was like a added force of impact that you felt. So I really enjoyed that. And then the other spot is back on the ring apron, so Sasha was hitting double knees and she was getting offense in, but there was a spot where she set Bailey into the ring post, and then she was going for another move, but then Bailey using her feet like knocked Sasha up in the air like she was Superman, and then Sasha fell headfirst on the ring apron. If we didn't know how good Sasha was, if that was anybody else, you would think they probably had gotten a concussion from that. But no, Sasha's just that great at selling. Like people forget how good a seller Sasha is. But that was probably the most brutal spot. Yeah, probably the most brutal spot of the night. I'm gonna call it the Superman spot. Really good. And I think the whole point of the spot, Sasha was supposed to fall headfirst onto the ring post, but she wasn't that close, so she just decided to put her arms out like Superman and fall on the ring apron. So really good, switch there and improvisation from Sasha there midway through the match. So we came back from the second commercial break, and they were fighting. For those that are watching on the Thunderdome, they got to see the full match with no commercials. So we come back. Bailey countered. Sasha had Bailey in the powerbomb position. Uh, she countered that into a head scissors, diving the boss onto the announce table in another good spot. Uh, then Sasha recovered, got some more offense in. She did a running knee to Bailey's face outside the ring. And then, if you guys remember, there was like I said, Sasha and Bailey, they're so good. They always do these little Easter eggs to their past matches. If you guys remember at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn back in 2015, one of the best spots of that match was when Bailey did an elbow drop on the middle rope. Brutal. So they basically did a callback to that, but this time Sasha did a running elbow on the ring, but she jumped off the steel ring steps. Looked really good. So I love that little callback. Then Sasha did a frog splash, right? And Sasha's frog splash, I hope somebody does an evolution of Sasha's frog splash, man. She's so great at it. From the first one she did to how she does it now, she gets so much more height. She doesn't get as much height as Montez Ford does, but still, I love the height Sasha got on this frog splash. It looked beautiful when they showed it on replay, and man, oh man. So then Bailey introduced a kendo stick, right? But it was a misdirection just to distract the referee, as she intended to use a chair, the same spray painted chair that started this whole rivalry. So then Banks kicked it away, but Bailey delivered a backstabber instead, and then followed it into a Bailey to belly. Not gonna lie, my heart stopped here. I was like, oh man, this was a beautiful, beautiful sequence, man. With the chair, the candlestick, and then going into Bailey using Sasha's offense, right? So Bailey really wanting to humiliate Sasha here, really wanted to regain the SmackDown Women's title by embarrassing Sasha in the worst way possible, by using Sasha's own move against her. So does the backstabber into the Bailey the belly. I got concerned that this is where the match was going to end, but Sasha kicked out at 2.5. Then Bailey didn't waste any time. I liked, that adrenaline rush Bailey had. Like she was not going to give Sasha any time to recover. As soon as Sasha kicked out, Bailey goes to the top rope, hits an elbow drop, signature throwback to Macho Man, right? Another kick out at 2.5. So, Sasha's perseverance. If you guys remember when this whole rivalry started, Michael and Corey Graves were talking about Sasha's perseverance when they were going up against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Here it coming into full effect here. This is a better Sasha Banks, right? Sasha is in the best stage of her career. This is prime Sasha Banks. It's gonna take a lot to take someone like her out. So then, after Sasha kicked out again, Bailey put Sasha in the bank statement, Sasha's signature submission move. So trying to use her own finisher against her, but Sasha was able to fight back out of it. But there was another cool Easter egg where Bailey put her leg on the bottom rope, right, to keep Sasha from getting to the ropes, to use it as leverage. Kind of similar because Sasha does that all the time. So I like that little callback. So then, but Sasha was still able to fight out of it because she was able to reverse it into a jackknife cover. Bailey kicked out. And then basically what happens they got to the back to the ring apron, right? Sasha was able to send Bayley flying shoulder into the ring post once again. Then Sasha hit Bayley with a kick, the same kick that Bayley hit on Sasha when Bayley originally betrayed Sasha to start this whole feud. So I love that little callback. Then they got back into the middle of the ring. Sasha puts Bayley into the bank statement. Bayley taps out, and Sasha Banks. The curse is over. Sasha successfully retains her SmackDown Women's title in a great match. This was a great match to open the show. This was easily the best part of the night. Easily. And SmackDown tonight, it was a okay show. The only reason why I'll say okay, because the middle part of the show, Sasha and Bayley started off so strong, but the middle part of the show did fall a little bit flat. So that's why I'm not gonna give this a amazing show, because they should have kept the momentum going after that fantastic Sasha and Bayley match. But it is what it is. But still, man, it looks like this is the end of the feud for now, right? I don't know, I don't see another match happening between Sasha and Bayley. And I will be honest with you guys, as great as these two matches were, WWE did kind of rush this storyline. They did. For a feud that we waited 5 years for, we basically the feud only lasted what, a little less than 2 months, right? Like I said, it was great. It was great for what it was. The match in Hell in a Cell, one of the best Hell in a Cell matches of all time, one of the matches of the year, and we'll be talking about that in December when we look back at this year and the best matches from WWE. But you know, I feel like they rushed the rematch a little bit, all right, because they wanted to, move on Sasha to some new opponents. But I felt like they could have delayed this to, TLC or Royal Rumble or even WrestleMania all the way next year. They could have. There's many different directions they could have gone. This storyline was more about Sasha, all right, because Bayley, she got her moment back in 2015 with NXT Takeover Brooklyn and then the Iron Man match and NXT Takeover Respect. This time the roles were reversed. Sasha was the babyface, Bayley was the heel. This is the way it was always going to go. Sasha was always going to be the one to dethrone Bayley and win in their rematch, right? And maybe one day we will see Sasha and Bayley again. Maybe Sasha will be the heel next time and Bayley will be the face. Maybe they both will be baby faces. Maybe they'll both be heels. We don't know, right? And we know how great Sasha and Bayley are in the ring together. They have amazing chemistry, and it's been a great feud. But I would be lying to you if I sat here and just said I didn't feel like WWE rushed this just a little bit, just a little bit. I felt like they should have delayed the rematch till TLC or sometime in 2021. But we got the rematch now, and for at least now, Sasha and Bayley are done. Tomorrow on the podcast, when I talk about how to book Sasha's championship reign, Bayley does have a role in that. Bayley does have a role in that, right? But I don't know if Bayley's gonna be taking some time off, because I know Bayley's been dealing with stuff in her personal life. We'll just have to wait and see about that. But what will be interesting, see if Bayley is sticking around for now, right? If she's not gonna take some time off, what I would do with Bayley, I would easily have her be the captain of the SmackDown Women's team, right? And that would lead her to starting a feud with Bianca Belair. Because I do believe Bianca will eventually be the person to take that title from Sasha. It won't be I don't think it should be at WrestleMania next year. I think they should save that for SummerSlam. But I already have a storyline pitch on how WWE can get Sasha and Bayley at WrestleMania, but also get Bianca's becoming champion at SummerSlam. Right? I think Sasha versus Bianca at WrestleMania should only be round one between these two, and we'll talk about that on the podcast tomorrow. But right now, what's next for Bayley? I think Bayley should be the captain of the SmackDown Women's team, right? And then that should lead to Bianca and Bayley feuding, the end 2021 and go into, or not 2021, end 2020 and enter into 2021. That should be the next thing for Bayley for right now. And for Sasha, clearly after the match, she was celebrating, and I knew this was gonna happen, right? She was celebrating at the top of the ramp. She was about to exit the Thunderdome, and then she ran into super kick from Carmella and a face buster. I don't know. I guess they're trying to call it the X Factor, but I'm gonna just call it a face buster, right? But either way, Carmella has a new look. She has returned. Not that I'm excited about it, because I said this last week. I am not a fan of Carmella's new look. I'm not trying to disrespect her or anything like that, right? But and I don't like it. Clearly it looks like she's wearing a wig, right? Like a blonde wig. Because if you look at her Instagram, her social media, her hair is not like that when she's at home or in the gym. So it looks like she's wearing some kind of wig. They changed up her look completely. Her new ring gear looks absolutely pitiful. Looks disgusting. It reminds me, Carmella legit looks like a diva. She looks like a diva. Everything that WWE has tried to get away with the WWE Evolution. People like Becky, Bayley, Sasha, and Charlotte, right? They try to get away from that with this Women's Revolution. Carmella looks like she's trying to bring that back to WWE 2020, and I'm not here for it. Not here for it at all. And think about it is, Carmella's not a bad wrestler at all. She's not. When you put her in the ring with the right person, she can put on a good match. She's had some good matches with Becky Lynch. She's had some good matches with Charlotte. But this is the best female wrestler in the world. And so I expect Sasha and Carmella to have a good match. I think, this will be saved for TLC, because I don't care that Carmella's back. She's done nothing to earn a SmackDown Women's Championship. She's done nothing to earn a match for the title, right? Done nothing at all. Just because you give a super kick and a face buster to Sasha, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. SmackDown Women's Division is actually way better than the Raw Women's Division. There's some nice there's competition in there. So if you want Carmella to face Sasha Banks, that's fine, right? But she needs to get some wins under her belt first. So what I would do, have Carmella be on the SmackDown Survivor Series team, right? Maybe Carmella, I don't know, maybe Carmella picks up the victory for the team. Maybe. Or maybe she has an impressive showing. Then after that, she wins a couple matches. She wins the number one contenders match. Because there's a lot of time between now and TLC. So, I would just, I would probably, have Carmella do well in the Survivor Series match, win some matches, become number one contender, and then you can have a story between Sasha and Carmella. I know Carmella did say some things about Sasha on Twitter, so basically she's just laying the groundwork for this feud, and I feel like they can have a good match at TLC. I feel like they really can. I don't think anybody expects Carmella to take the title from Sasha, and it would be wrong to do that. All right, and I have no doubt that Sasha will beat Carmella at TLC if that's the direction that they're going with. Right, I don't see Sasha losing that title anytime soon. This is just a good feud to get her reign started. Now she's done with Bayley. They're getting with Carmella, because clearly they're saving Bianca. Bianca, that's not going to be done until WrestleMania, most likely. So clearly you need something to get Sasha to WrestleMania with Bianca Belair. But either way, Carmella's not terrible at the ring, and Sasha's the best female wrestler in the world. So clearly, I think they can have a good match, at TLC. But it'll be interesting to see what story they try to tell here. Clearly, I don't have any problems with the attack, because this is what happens when you're champion. When you take down one person, there's going to be somebody else. There's going to be another person waiting next in line to challenge you. That's the way it is in WWE. So Sasha's gonna have to deal with this. He's gonna get attacked by people because they want to take what's hers right now, which is the SmackDown Women's Championship. So it should be a good match at TLC if that's where they're going. I want to see what story they try to tell here, but we'll see. This is gonna be Sasha's first legit feud now as champion, because the Bayley match was just a rematch. This is her first fresh feud as champion. The thing about it is, Sasha and Carmella have never faced off in the ring. Never. They only faced off at a couple of house shows, and they never faced off at NXT or on the main roster. Never in a singles match. So this is a fresh matchup. So I expect it to be good. It should be a good start for Sasha's reign. Get her some win, get her some valid challenges, right? So we'll see. Hopefully, WWE does the right thing and actually builds up Carmella as a challenger instead of just putting her in the number one contender spot. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I know. I know what you guys are saying. I spent 30 minutes talking about Sasha and Bayley. You guys know. I told you guys we were gonna spend the majority of the podcast on this, and there wasn't much else that happened on SmackDown. So clearly, I don't mind spending most of the podcast talking about, the best thing on the show. So moving on into it, you know, uh, like I said, Sasha and Bailey was the main event of the show. We got the main event to start the show. Uh, so then we saw Jay Uso. Jay Uso turned heel last week. We've heard all the reports, right? Jay Uso's now, aligning with Roman Reigns. They're making this new tribal chief faction, and Jimmy will be joining him once he's cleared to compete in about a month. So, and they're gonna be giving the group new theme music and all these other things. Even though I love the Usos theme song, it's gonna be interesting to see what new theme music they get. But either way, I read a report that WWE wants to do Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan as the next feud for the Universal title. I'm gonna be honest. I think they should delay that at least for a couple months, right? Because if you want to make WrestleMania the biggest show of the year, when you bring fans back, and there's rumors right now that WWE plans to bring fans back for Royal Rumble, right? Which I could easily see them doing, especially with the fact that Florida is now open for uh for events with fans. I think WrestleMania is going to be the big show where WWE says we are back. Welcome back. WWE is back on top. I think that's the way they're going to market WrestleMania this year. So I think if you can't do Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania, and that would be a huge match. That's easily your main event if you can get Rock on board. I don't see it happening right now just because of all the insurance things with Rock and his movie deals and all that. So for right now, at least, it's probably not going to happen. But if you can, that's your main event. But since that's unlikely, yeah, unless you are still planning to do Roman versus Big E, I feel like the match you should go with is Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Imagine that. Heel Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, with the way he's, fallen into this new character, and he's doing a fantastic job of it. Imagine Roman Reigns finally getting the booze that WWE, has been trying to keep Roman Reigns from getting for all these years. For years, they wanted Roman Reigns to be cheered as a babyface, right? But he would always get booze because they would shove him down our throats. Now, with Roman Reigns as a heel, he would finally get those boos at WrestleMania. And it would probably be a fantastic scene. Another thing is Daniel Bryan. Imagine WrestleMania with the yes chance. You can legit make this on the level potentially of what they did at WrestleMania 30 when Daniel Bryan had one of the best WrestleMania moments of all time when he beat Triple H and became the World Heavyweight Champion at the same night when he beat Batista and Randy Orton. You can really make this a full fledged storyline, right? Have everybody in Tampa doing the yes chants. Roman versus Daniel Bryan. We know it would be a spectacular match. So I'm not against it. If you can't get Roman versus The Rock, right, and you decide to go, a different route with Big E versus Roman, I would not be complaining with Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan if they saved that for WrestleMania. I feel like it would be fantastic. Will they do that? Will WWE consider that? Probably not. But if someone's listening from WWE to the podcast today, I feel like they should highly consider saving Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns for WrestleMania instead of just doing it now, especially when there's no crowd. Unless potentially you want to do Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble, because it looks like right now WWE is planning to have fans for that event. So we'll see. But I've been saying this. I've been saying I want to see Kevin Owens back in the title hunt, right? And I feel like they're setting the seeds for that. I would delay Roman versus Daniel Bryan, and I would do Roman versus Kevin Owens at TLC. I don't know if they will go down that direction, but I feel like that's the route. They at least planted the seeds for that today, or for last night on SmackDown. They planted the seeds for that feud if WWE wants to go down that direction. So what happened is they had Jay Uso. he was backstage, getting a coffee. KO came up against him, and he was like, "What? Roman has you getting his coffee now? Shouldn't that be Paul Heyman's job?" So Jey Uso took some offense to that, right? He's like, you making fun of my family? Like, well, what you doing, man? You want the smoke? So then KO was like, "Nah, I'm actually treating this very seriously. Treating, thing is at Survivor Series we are partners, right? And thing is, Kevin talked about how he has never had a really good showing at Survivor Series, so he wants to change that this year. So he just wants to hope that they're on the same page. So then Jay got interviewed from Kayla Braxton, right? And Kayla was, kind of getting under Jay's skin. Kayla, she wasn't really doing her job as a journalist. She did take some side remarks at she did, and he did insult Jay a little bit, right? He like making jokes about Jay being Roman's henchman now and all that. And you could tell if you looked at Kayla's face, right? She was actually kind of, serious. She wasn't doing a great job of being objective like a journalist is supposed to be. But still, Jay was not happy. The interview got cut short because Paul Heyman said Roman wanted to speak with Jay, right? So then we went over to Roman's locker room. Roman came out and basically told Jay, like, if you want to do something like that, you have to run it back by me, all right? And if I'm not there, you got to run it by Paul. So they talked about the Kevin Owens issue, and basically they said, oh, KO is disrespecting our family, and if he's disrespecting you, he's disrespecting me, and we cannot have that. So we're gonna take care of this tonight. So I love how Roman's like the tribal chief, giving orders like this is how we handle business. So then it was announced that we would get Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens in the main event. So before that, Roman he turns over to Paul Heyman. He's not even looking at Paul Heyman. He's just like, "Did you know about this? Did you know about what KO said?" And Paul was like, "I found out about it about the same time it was happening." And then Roman was like, you know you're the counsel to the tribal chief. You need to let me know about these things. That's your job. So I love how Roman was barking orders here. You can see the relationship between Paul Heyman and Roman is far different than the relationship between Paul Heyman and Lesnar. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but Lesnar's he has no merchandise on the WWE shop because WWE they had to cancel a trademark for Brock Lesnar's name, so they can't use his name to sell his merch. So probably once Lesnar comes back, because we all know Lesnar will be back, probably around Royal Rumble time, right? When Lesnar comes back, that's when you'll see Lesnar's gear on the WWE shop again. But for right now, they can't sell it because they don't have the trademark to sell his name, right? So that was hilarious if you ask me. But like I said, I just noticed that little dynamic there. Also, we had one of our two qualifying matches, and this is where the show kind of, it lost the momentum that had been built up by Roman and Jay and Sasha Banks and Bayley before that. We had Rey Mysterio versus Baron Corbin. You guys know I don't care about Baron Corbin at all. And, Rey Mysterio, he got attacked by Baron Corbin backstage. Rey Mysterio wasn't even fully dressed for his match because he was too busy, trying to find his daughter, Alea. He kept talking about how he hadn't been able to have contact with her all week. So this was funny. So basically, we saw Ray was recovering from the pre-match attack, and I don't know. Ray came out in a t-shirt and sweatpants, right? So I don't know. Ray Mysterio back in the day used to wrestle shirtless. Now he wrestles in singlets, and some, like kind of like it looks like sweatpants. But today he was wearing a t-shirt, right? I saw people on Twitter. They were like, "Ray is really adopting that father mindset, right? Because we know Dominic he wrestles in normal ring gear. Even though I hate when Dominic wears that little hoodie. You guys know what I'm talking about. Dominic sometimes wrestles in a hoodie, which is ridiculous. But Ray really is adopting that dad mindset as he's later in his career, man. I was like, really, this guy's gonna wrestle in a t-shirt and sweatpants, but either way, uh Baron dominated this match, especially because Ray had been attacked, and he was selling the pre-match attack. So We saw Mysterio starting to make a little bit of comeback. Seth Rollins appeared on the scene. While Dominic was at ringside, he wanted to make sure Rollins couldn't get involved at all. So Mysterio landed a big splash as he built more momentum. Corbin answered with like a world's strongest slam right out of the playbook of Mark Henry, and he got a 2 count on that. He kept working on Mysterio's lower back. Ray recovered and delivered his 619, but then he couldn't take advantage of it because he got distracted by Seth, who had attacked Dominic at ringside. So then Alea and Murphy appeared. Then Mysterio became distracted once again, and then as he re-entered the ring, he ran into an end of days. Corbin casting his ticket to join the Survivor Series team. This was not a good looking end of days either. And usually we see the end of days is one of the most beautiful looking finishing moves in the entire company. But the thing is, it looks like Ray didn't even like get off his feet correctly. So, Corbin actually had to like deadlift Mysterio into doing it. And it was hilarious. I don't know. How did Becky Lynch sell the end of days better than Mysterio, who's a Hall of Famer, man? I don't know, right? But it was not a good looking end of days. But Corbin does qualify for the Men's Survivor Series team. Not that anybody cares. Like I said, I don't care about Baron Corbin. I don't know, man. That's the vibe, man. The match wasn't that good. The match wasn't that good at all. It was just right? Plus, I think you guys will agree with me. I think we are all so sick and tired of this match or of this storyline with Dominic, uh, Ray, Murphy, and Alea. I think we're all just, well, we just wanted to end. We just wanted to end, guys. And, I don't know how it's going to end. It looks like they are planting seeds for that. But, still, man, not enjoying this whatsoever. But moving on. Moving on, we'll just talk about this right now. We had another Survivor Series qualifier match with Otis versus Seth Rollins. So, kind of sucks, right? Kind of sucks to see how far Otis has fallen. He's no longer Mr. Money in the Bank. Mandy Rose is on Raw. Tucker is on Raw. Tucker, broke up with him, right? They did the betrayal angle, which is terrible. It looks like we're not even going to get a feud out of this because we saw Tucker on Raw with a whole new look, and he looks like a complete jobber now. And I don't know. Maybe, they'll bring Heavy Machinery back together one day. Like, they should have never broken them up in the first place. But, man, a couple months ago, everything was looking up for Otis. And now he's lost everything. And it looks like there's really no plan or direction for him. You made him to a single star, and I don't know. I don't know. Things don't really look that good for Otis right now. Really, they truly don't. I don't know. Maybe they sent Otis after Sami Zayn in the IC Championship. We haven't seen Sami Zayn wrestle since he won the title. I don't know what they're doing with that, but I feel like that should be a focus. But hey, anyway, we saw Otis was focused in this match, and it's Seth Rollins. So the match wasn't bad. It was at least better than what Corbin and Mysterio gave us beforehand. Otis controlled the match early as he made his way to the ringside area. Right, he did a fallaway slam, then a big splash. Otis set up for the caterpillar. Then we saw Buddy Murphy, right? He hopped on the ring apron. So everyone was like, "Huh, what's this? Is Murphy gonna help Seth? Is Murphy realigning with Seth?" But he provided a distraction that allowed Rollins to catch him with a super kick and then the curb stomp for the win. Rollins was very confused as Murphy made his way to the back, right? And then the Mysterios were watching via monitored, and they were questioning what the hell Murphy was doing, right? Because we know Murphy's been trying to convince Mysterio and Dominic that they're on the same side and that he's actually sorry. But even Alea was like, what the hell? Like, and then backstage, we saw Rollins was like, please tell me you've decided to come back to me. And then Murphy repeated that Rollins was the Messiah and he was the disciple, right? So, and Rollins was like, this is a blessing. And then he walked away. Then a lady came and she slapped Murphy. She was like, you made me believe in you and all this other stuff, right? But Murphy calmed the lady down and said, you got to trust me. This is for the greater good. So, it looks like clearly Murphy's not realigning himself with Rollins. I think this is just a plan by Murphy to finally take down Rollins once and for all. I feel like he's gonna make Rollins believe that they're on the same side, and then eventually he's gonna turn on Rollins, and that's gonna give an opening to finally end this. Because they're gonna write Rollins off TV probably after Survivor Series, because Becky's due to have her child in about a month. So that's what I see happening here. I think they're gonna write Rollins off TV when Murphy fools Rollins and then reveals that this was just a plan all along to get Rollins to lower his guard. So that's what I think happening. I think they're saving Rollins finally being written off TV for after Survivor Series. But maybe who knows? I don't know. With the way Vince is, right? Vince Vince wants Becky Lynch back at the Royal Rumble. Just like a month and a half after she has her child, he wants Becky back to start a feud with Ronda Rousey for a singles match at WrestleMania. But here's my thing: we don't know if Becky's gonna be ready by then, right? We don't know if she's gonna be able to have her baby weight off and be able to get back in shape in enough time to be ready to get back to work against Ronda Rousey. We don't know. We don't know, but I don't know. Will Seth even? How long will Seth even be written off TV for? Right? I know when Daniel Bryan had his second child, he was gone for a good, what was it, like 2 3 months? He was gone, and he's back now. But will WWE give Rollins that amount of time off? If they want Becky Lynch back right after the Royal Rumble, hey, Seth's gonna be there as well, right? Especially they're gonna need Seth for the build for WrestleMania. So I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. All right. I got a tweet from Cricket Wireless. They're doing a meet and greet with Naomi. Ooh, damn. I probably would have signed up for that if I wasn't doing the podcast. The things that I do for you guys. But hey, anyway, we had a third triple threat qualifier. So this was for the women's Survivor Series team. This was Ruby Riott, Zelina Vega, and Natalya. Like I said, people sleep on Zelina Vega. She is talented. She is talented, and I hope she gets a little bit of a push on SmackDown. Not gonna lie, SmackDown has a decent. Like I said, SmackDown has a decent women's roster. Man, it's so much better than Raw's roster. It's just gonna depend on if they build them up correctly. But either way, it seems like the storyline they're doing is they're Natalya failing to qualify for the Women's Survivor Series team. They did this last week with Billie Kay and Bianca. Now they're doing it again this week with Zelina and Ruby Riott. So this was, it was okay for what it was. Same thing as last week. Nothing too special here. The action was fast and furious. Nobody really had an advantage. So Vegas saved Riott from a sharpshooter at one point, but then she got trapped in the sharpshooter. And they were clearly doing the same thing that they did with Bianca here. Selena refused to tap out. So Vega was fighting through the pain, so I like that. So then Riott rode in and then applied a modified chicken wing. And then right as Natalya let go, that's when Selena tapped out, giving Riott the submission victory. So that was pretty funny. So hey, so the last 2 weeks they're doing this storyline where Natalya struggles to qualify for the Women's Survivor Series team. I don't really care about Natalya, but I find this kind of funny. I'm happy for Ruby Riott, happy that she's getting the opportunity, right? I don't know. Probably next week will be Natalya versus Liv Morgan if I was willing to make a bet. It'll probably be, I believe Tamina's on SmackDown as well. So they'll probably do Tamina versus Liv Morgan versus Natalya next week. And then probably that's how Liv Morgan will qualify. And then probably the week after that, they'll probably do like a last chance battle royal with everybody that didn't qualify. And that's probably how Natalya will finally qualify for the team. So I find it kind of funny how they're going about this, but it's whatever. I'm not gonna sit here and complain about it too much, right? As long as it builds up the rest of the women's division, I'm not gonna complain about it. After this, we had a funny segment. Biggie. He was wearing like a holiday sweater. He wasn't wearing New Day gear, but he was playing chess with somebody backstage, and then the Street Profits came over to him and they were asking, if he could give them any advice on how to beat the New Day, Big E's old pals. And Big E was like, "Oh, I see what you guys want. Well, the key to defeating them, the tip I can give you for Survivor Series is laying down and letting Kofi and Xavier get the easy victory, right? So they don't beat you up too badly." And then they all started breaking up in laughter, right? So I don't know if WWE, because I know WWE wants to slowly try to break off that comedic side of Big E because they want him to be a more serious babyface. But I didn't mind this at all. This was funny. It was funny. After Big E left, the Street Profits were still laughing. Billy Kay came over, and Billy Kay had a resume, right? She's been doing it the last couple of weeks. She has like a mini like resume, and it's like a headshot of her and then her resume on the back. And she's like, maybe I can give you, some tips on, the Raw team, right? Because I was once a superstar on Monday Night Raw, and then the Street Profits were like, Billy, we were on Monday Night Raw the same time you were, and then Billy was like, damn. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of Billy Kay, but that was kind of funny. I kind of like what they did there. Not bad, not too shabby. But either way, we what was it? We came into the main event, right? We came into the main event. Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso. KO cut a really good promo backstage where he's like, I was just talking to him a couple minutes ago in I was just talking about him you know a couple minutes ago while he was getting coffee, and now I have to face him in a match, really? But KO cut a really good promo talking about how uh uh KO, he talked about how he is 100% his own man, and even though he's made questionable decisions in the past, he was the one that decided to make all those decisions. He did them with his own free will. Jay's just now taking orders from Roman, right? He's being more controlled than anything. So I kind of like where KO was going with this direction. They also did a backstage interview right before the match with Lars Sullivan. I didn't care about this. I don't, right? If Lars Sullivan becomes something on SmackDown, whatever, but I'm not invested into him at all. It was basically the same interview he did last week with Corey Graves. This time was with Michael Cole, talking about how he became the bully, right? Even when he was bullied, he went to the gym, he gained 50 pounds of muscle, and then he became the bully. And then he bullied the bullies. And then he also bullied the kids that would sit there and laugh at him, making them eat dirt and glass and worms and all these other things. All right. And then the interview ended with him screaming. Like I said, I'm not invested in anything they're doing with Lars Sullivan right now. I couldn't care less. I really I don't care. It's that simple. I just don't care what they're doing with Lars Sullivan right now. It's whatever. But anyway, we got to the main event. Jay Uso, I will say this. One of the best things that came out of this Jay Uso and Roman Reigns program is Jay has now elevated himself as a singles competitor. Right? When Jimmy comes back, we know that Jimmy and Jay, they're going to be a tag team. They'll probably become the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Right? And I cannot wait, because I expect the Street Profits. I don't see the Street Profits losing the SmackDown Tag Team titles right now. I feel like a heel Usos versus Street Profits feud, right, going to WrestleMania season, that's going to be absolutely spectacular. I cannot wait for that. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I feel like that's going to be really good. Really good. So, but either way, man, Jay has, made himself into a single star. And this has elevated his platform. So I got to give credit to Roman Reigns and everybody that's been involved in this storyline because, Jay, has really elevated himself as a star because of everything that's happened with, Roman Reigns turning heel. I love it. But this was a really good match. Uso pounded away at Owens, showing that new aggressive, that same aggressive he used on Daniel Bryan last week. KO answered with a neck breaker for two. Jay recovered and blasted Owens with a super kick as Heyman made his way to the ring. Watching from ringside, Owens fought back into the match. He delivered a swanton bomb, and as Heyman watched, You could see Heyman was stressed because if Jay lost, how was Roman going to react, right? So I like that Paul Heyman, really good stuff from Paul Heyman here. So then Roman's music played, right? KO hit a pop up power bomb for a close 2 count. So Roman Reigns' music played, right? I knew Roman was gonna come out. This was more just a distraction from Roman to help Jay get the advantage. Jay blasted him with a headbutt uh, into the groin, so a low blow from Jay Uso, right? Then hit him with a super kick and a splash for the win. So this was a really good match between KO and Jay. Like I said, this singles run is really elevating Jay. All right, and hopefully Jimmy gets the same treatment when he gets back, and they reform as a team along with Roman Reigns. So Uso made his way up the ramp. Reigns put his hand on his shoulder in approval and raised the Universal Championship. As the show ended. So the show tonight, SmackDown, it wasn't terrible. The middle part really with the I'm just so sick of this whole Seth, Dominic, Rey Mysterio storyline, man. I cannot wait to see an end to that. That was really the only downer for me. But other than that, this was a pretty decent show. Love what they did with the end with KO, Jay, and Roman, right? And of course, the beginning of the show was fantastic with Sasha Banks and Bayley. So all in all, not a bad SmackDown. Could have been a little bit better, but it was not a terrible show, not by any means. But let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of SmackDown tonight. All right, let me go if you guys enjoyed the show. What do you guys think? One more thing before we get out of here. I've been hearing rumors that people believe that they should do Roman Reigns and the Usos in this new Tribal Chief faction going up against going up against Daniel Bryan and the Street Profits. I am down for that. Like I said, WrestleMania season should honestly for SmackDown, right? You build up Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. You have the Street Profits going up against the heel Usos. And then, potentially, no matter if it's Roman versus Big E or Roman versus The Rock or Roman versus Daniel Bryan, having like a 6-man tag team match like that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. Hell, if you want to, right? If you want to, I don't know, maybe at TLC, you do like a triple threat TLC match. Or not triple threat. I'm sorry. Or maybe you do like a 6-man, not a triple threat, a 6-man. Maybe you do like a 6-man TLC match. You have Roman and Jimmy and Jay, if Jimmy's ready to return by then, going up against, maybe have them go up against KO and the Street Profits, right? And maybe you delay KO and Roman for Royal Rumble. Unless you want to do Roman versus Daniel Bryan for the Royal Rumble. There's many different directions they can go with this. But either way, man, I like the direction SmackDown's going. I eventually think KO should be the guy to take the IC championship from Sami Zayn. I don't see KO becoming Universal Champion, but seeing KO in that main event scene fighting for titles once again as a top babyface, I am down with that. There's a lot to be hopeful for with SmackDown. And I like the direction of the show. It's so much better than Monday Night Raw right now. So much better. But let me know what you guys thought of SmackDown tonight. Make sure to, like I said, leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys thought of the show. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed the podcast. That's about all I got for you guys today. Make sure to subscribe and enable notifications by clicking the bell right next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description down below. As always, guys, thank you guys for your love and support. You guys are the best. I appreciate it as always. All right. I'm gonna get out of here. Remember, I will have a bonus episode of the podcast where we talk about how to book Sasha Banks as the SmackDown Women's Champion. And right before I actually have one more thing. One more thing. All right. I know I'm about to end the podcast, but you know, I didn't mention anything about Sasha Banks and Asuka as Survivor Series. I just talked about Sasha and Carmella, and as I'm ending the podcast, I was like, damn, I know some of you guys are gonna be asking what I think they should do with Sasha and Asuka. I'm telling you guys right now, Sasha should get the victory. They mentioned on commentary tonight, right? I don't know if you guys were listening, but they mentioned on commentary that Sasha and Bayley both, no matter who won the SmackDown Women's Championship match tonight, both have struggled against Asuka in the past, and that is facts. Asuka won the NXT Women's Championship from Bayley, right? And she's defeated Bayley multiple times on the main roster. And Asuka defeated Sasha for the Raw Women's Championship just at SummerSlam. They had Sasha, who was still heel at the time, tap out clean twice to Asuka, 2 nights in a row. Plus, Asuka defeated Sasha clean back in 2018. Yes, Sasha did defeat Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, but that was via countout. That was with the help of Bayley. Now it's time for Sasha to get a clean victory over Asuka. It's not going to hurt Asuka at the end of the day. Sasha needs to beat Asuka clean at Survivor Series. And it's that easy at the end of the day. Let me know what you guys' thoughts on that. But like I said, guys, I'm going to end the podcast right about here. We've gone right about an hour, so this is a good place to end it. Like always, guys, thank you guys for the love and support. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'll see you guys later. Stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.